Good morning, and this is Juan M. Andrade. Not just Juan M. Andrade, but the Juan, that's J-U-A-N, and sign, and only. The name of the show is From the Heart. And we are in the heart of Hammond, Indiana, at the Area Career Center in Hammond, Indiana. Today I have three very special guests, two to my left and one to my right. Right on. And this is the Career Center, where we have students from the multimedia department that are the crew for From the Heart. And they edit the program. And that, when it's all said and done, put it on the YouTube channel for the Area Career Center. To the students of the multimedia department of the Area Career Center, congratulations for being the Skills USA 2019 champions. Congratulations to each and every one of you. And of course, congratulations to Miss Stephanie, who led the way by teaching the students. On that note, women of the now, and you know what? They took advantage of being at a certain place at a certain time. Because today, at this program, we would have had a different guest, but they weren't able to make it. But women of the now were there as guests, and now they're here because of opportunity. They were at the right place at the right time. Let me just say this real quickly, because I got to hear and see them just recently this week at a meeting of the Indiana Filmmakers Network, Inc. And so what is IFN? The Indiana Filmmakers Network, Inc. is a 501c3 educational charitable organization connecting and empowering creatives throughout the state of Indiana, embracing all aspects of film, theater, media, and the arts. IFN Inc. works to bring together Hoosiers to see their creative visions become a reality by providing them with the knowledge, resources, and connections that they need. Go to the website at www.indianafilmmakers.org. New look, new direction, new IFN. So, women of the now were the guest at this recent IFN meeting. They were at the right place at the right time, because they are here now in this very studio of the multimedia department at the Area Career Center as my guest. And so when I heard what they had to say, I said, you know what, you need to say that on From the Heart at the Area Career Center in Hammond, Indiana. So to my very left, I have Mr. Zack Sievers and Miss Grace Pisula. And to my right, I have Miss Jill Sandmire, and they are women of the now, except for Zack, of course. He's not women.
Right.
We'll talk about what Zack plays in terms of women of the now. So,
just a little clarification. So Women of the Now is an organization that works with women to help bring them into the film sphere in roles that we don't traditionally get hired in. So of the top grossing Hollywood films, only about 16% employed women. So we want to bring those numbers up, and so that's what our organization aims to do.
So let me ask you this, though, if I may. How many people make up your Women of the Now chapter, I guess, if we can say that?
Sure. So we have 9 board members. And we have 9 active members. And then outside of that, we have a network of about 1,000 people in Chicago and the Chicagoland area that work with us to create content that is female-driven.
Okay.
And
So,
to put
Jill,
more media out there that tells women's stories.
what is your position with Women of the Now?
Sure. So I'm the co-director of operations. What I do is our day-to-day business activities. I help create business plans, marketing plans. I help facilitate sort of our outreach, as well as, you know, bringing in more membership, telling people what we do, a lot of that.
Okay. Jill, what is your position with Women of the Now?
Grace.
Oh, I'm sorry, Grace, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So I'm the technical director of Women of the Now.
Okay. And what does that entail?
It can entail a lot of different things, but primarily what a technical director does is they are responsible for consulting any productions on any kind of technical aspect of a film production. So my background in camera and as an editor makes me a good candidate for a technical director to just consult them if they have something going on or coming up to kind of make sure everything's checking out.
Your role in Women of the Now?
Well, I'm sort of indirectly affiliated.
Okay. So are you
through
like,
Gold
like a
Point
contractor or
Studio.
subcontractor or something to that effect?
No, our production company, Gold Point Studio,
Okay.
is a partner of Women of the Now.
Okay.
We
Very good.
often partner on familiar projects so that we can produce work, good work, that supports the mission of the nonprofit organization.
So you talked about how it's really important to see the numbers grow as far as women being involved in the TV entertainment industry and so forth. That is not the case right now.
Excuse me. So as far as women in film being producers, directors, cinematographers, a lot of those lead positions have been occupied by men
Right.
for a very long time. So we're looking to kind of balance out, lead positions as well as, just generally balancing our sets to be, 50-50 because women make up 50% of the population. We should see that reflected throughout all industries. And because we are filmmakers, our focus obviously is on balancing that within the film industry.
How long have you been in existence?
So Women of the Now was actually founded in 2015 by our executive director, Elaine Marie Williams,
Okay.
in Philadelphia. She brought the concept here to Chicago, Illinois, and we officially filed for our 501c3 in 2019. So we're a very new organization, though we do have a strong following. We just hope to grow and build and help our film community to embrace women and embrace women's stories.
How did you come about being involved with this? And I know, like you said, you mentioned that you're trying to increase the numbers and so forth. Why is that important?
Well, so early in my career, when I first started out in the film industry, I was a production assistant and an office production assistant, and I was pretty severely sexually harassed. And through that experience, it helped open my eyes to kind of the injustices and the imbalance that we see on a lot of sets, where you have producers who have a lot of power over people, whether they're hired in the future. And when you have such an imbalance of power, there needs to be some sort of dynamic in place, some set of modus operandi that promotes balance and fairness, which isn't something that we've seen up until recently with the Time's Up and Me Too movements.
Let me ask you this. You said you're a technical director?
Yes.
Okay. Is that an area that needs major improvement when it comes to women in TV land, so to speak, in California, New York, and so forth?
Definitely.
Totally. What we've learned, at least in my 1 year with Women of the Now,
Yes.
is that there are lots of women who want to participate and learn technical aspects of filmmaking, and they have the capabilities to do that. If they have the training and they're available, if we hire them for those roles. And so what we're doing through Women of the Now is providing training through events and workshops, and actually hiring more women on our sets, where we find that other filmmaking or other production companies are not.
Grace,
Yeah.
rate yourself in terms of your technical ability.
I'm an expert.
Yeah.
So you know a lot when it comes to your technical ability as it relates to the industry and so forth.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff out there, so there may be things I don't know.
So you said you're very well versed.
But I'm an expert in what I do know.
You're an expert, okay.
Yeah.
And so you want to see more women in that particular part.
I want to see more
and a
female
lot of arts,
DPs. I
right.
want to see female editors. I want to see female producers.
I think the goal is to make it a priority to hire women. So for myself, with Jilly Artistry Productions, I'm producing a feature documentary, and it is key to our film that it be mostly women. So, you know, obviously, I have hired Grace to edit, color, shoot parts of my documentary. And so as an organization, we have made it a priority. It is part of our mission to say, you know, the projects that we're doing are going to be primarily women-run sets.
So Zach, what do you do for the organization?
Well, we worked with Women of the Now on the Indiana film race. Grace and I, through her company, Gold Point Studio. And so Lane Marie Williams, the founder of Women of the Now, was the director on that film for the film race.
What's the name of the film?
Golden Voices is the name of the film. And yeah, I mean, that's kind of, it's an indirect sort of affiliation with it, so.
The goal was to adopt Women of the Now's mission into our process and to be really intentional about that. And so that's kind of where the association came in, and we partnered up in that way. And we've partnered on other things as well, because it's not just about hiring women and working with women sets. Like our team for the Indiana film race was 4 women and Zack, which is great. But it's also the other side of the camera and telling women's stories primarily. So I think we all, I don't want to speak for everybody, but we all feel a certain responsibility as content creators to produce good content that is intentionally nonviolent but sort of healing.
And I think it's also it's interesting too to see, you know, women telling women's stories and sort of like how the feel or the aura of the piece is a little bit different. And I think that's something that we as a whole and in our mainstream media that we need more of. And I think just seeing more of that dynamic and hoping to bring more of that into a mainstream feel is very important. It's important for men like Zack, who come in and, you know, work in these female-dominated spaces, to be able to have that environment too. I think that's often lost as like, oh, you know, we're bringing up women, but we're also bringing up men to be able to have these experiences and know what it's like to work in a female-dominated space, because that gives them the opportunity to learn different ways of communication, different ways of working, and it's so important.
Let me ask you this, Grace, we'll start with you. At the beginning, you mentioned about sexual harassment, which is part of, unfortunately, it's part of the industry, which it should not be. Has Women of the Now addressed that in any way, shape, or form since you've been as an organization? Have you addressed that at all?
I think we address it in many ways. And again, it really comes down to our process. It's process of what kind of conversations are we having in development, through production. So for example, starting a production day with your pronouns. And it's really about making people feel safe, included, that their voices are heard.
And heard, yeah. Yeah.
So Zack, what can you say that about men? And you know what, is this just a case where men are sexually harassing women, or are there cases where women are sexually harassing men in the industry?
I don't know how to answer that.
You don't know how to answer that? Well, okay. Okay. So let's just talk about, as a man, what are your thoughts about this issue where women are being sexually harassed in the entertainment industry? What are your thoughts about that as a man?
Yeah, so I'm carrying over, you know, other sort of lessons I've learned in working with women in other professional fields. I come from a background of professional philosophy. In there are, at least at some of the programs I've been at, there are a lot more open discussions about how we're treating each other at work. There are sort of moments in institutions, I think, where people can kind of work together to break bad habits about how we treat each other in work. And yeah, I mean, I think it is maybe counterintuitive for some people to like go to work and to try to purge it of those kinds of behaviors, but I think it's very productive to just treat people in like a very professional, collaborative way. And I mean, what really energizes me working with women is like all of the creative collaborations and having a sort of a more open-ended, sort of flexible, collaborative writing process. And also as I've been a director pretty much until I got to Chicago, and now I'm writing a lot. So for me, it's like a treat, and it's very, very kind of mind-opening to watch all these decisions being made in different ways than I have maybe seen other people make them. Or I've worked in New York, and I've seen sort of very studio, like male-dominated sets there, and my experiences working with women out here have been very, very different. But I'm learning no less from working with women. And then maybe I should say too, I think it's just culturally important at this point in time for men to sort of listen to women in these scenarios and try to just like diversify our voices, period. I said something at that filmmakers meeting about growing up in film and sort of thinking about auteur theory and having these ideas about it being good that one person, maybe in my mind uncritically at a younger age, a man who's getting to write and direct and then produce, this single person has all these control points over a finished product. And now as I'm sort of maturing as an artist and as a person and as like a citizen, I'm thinking a lot more about bringing in more voices to my work and trying to work across all these different cultural contexts. And I think that's the work I want to do in the future.
In the interest of not seeing because of the lights on my glasses, so whoever may have a signal coming up soon, if not already, if you can move up so we can see, I can see your signal because I can't even see you right now. So this is From the Heart, featuring the Juan, that's Juan and only, given to me by one of my lovely co-workers in Crown Point, Indiana, and I've taken it to heart. For I am the Juan and only. And we are here with Women of the Now, and Zack, who is working with Women of the Now. So we are in Hammond, Indiana, and once again, congratulations to all the students for winning the multimedia department here for winning the Skills USA 2019. And like I said, anything coming up, please move up so I can see, because I can't. So other than that, like I said, so what did you say, 2 years, the organization?
Essentially, yeah. So as like a structured organization, about 2 years, yeah.
Welcome back. This is From the Heart. Not only heart, any heart, my heart. On the area, at the Area Career Center in Hammond, Indiana, we are here with Women of the Now and Zack, who works with Women of the Now. And we are having a very powerful conversation about the film industry, where there is a lack of women representation in all the fields. And that needs to be fixed now, not later. And there's also another issue about sexual harassment, more of men on women than the other way around. Problems anywhere and everywhere that are man-made and in some cases woman-made that need to be fixed. So today, continuing for the second part of our program, we have Grace, Jill, and Zack. And so, as far as our conversation here, we were just talking right before we came back on the set right now that I talked a little bit about, well, actually, let's go into some films you wanted to talk about. So what is that film you want to talk about?
Right, that's right. So in the previous segment, we were talking about how we incorporate the mission of Women of the Now into things we can do every day on set and through our productions. So our first kind of real big collaboration was the film Golden Voices, and that was produced as part of the Indiana Film Race. It was the first ever Indiana Film Race. It's happening here, and they're going to do it again this year. Mm-hmm. We ended up winning 4 awards at the Indiana Film Race and the grand prize, and we'll be screening Golden Voices at this year's Heartland Film Festival.
Okay. And what did it take to win that competition, I think, that you were talking about?
That's a really good question. Do you want to maybe?
What did it take to win that?
Well, yeah, I mean, my big takeaway would be something like just getting really serious about flexibility, because the race was sort of challenging. We stayed in an RV for 5 days in a row. We shot for 5 days in a row while a BTS crew followed us around. So there were added layers of pressure on the thing, and then, yeah, our film had a unique sort of problem. Our main character used the RV that we were using for the competition in the film, and so, yeah, if Melissa was here, if Bandit was here, our set designer, she could tell you that, yeah, flipping the RV from mobile production office to the set every day back and forth was needed some flexibility out of everybody, but it was great. Yeah.
What can you tell us about the film, or somebody?
I think they're better talking about that than me.
I'd like to answer your question as well, and that was, we think that really the reason that we won is we treated this contest as an opportunity to treat the state of Indiana as a client.
Yeah.
And so, being from Chicago, we have certain ideas about Indiana, and we really only see northwest side of Indiana. And this project challenged us to go deeper into Indiana, and we scouted everywhere from Lafayette to Brown County State Park and down in Bloomington. And we discovered a lot of the natural beauty that is there. They call Brown County State Park the Little Smokies, which we really liked. And so our film adopted a lot of those things, and the aesthetic of the film is really meant to be beautiful. And of course, we're following a female lead character in the style of Women of the Now. We want to make sure that our lead was a woman, and this was a woman's story, and our crew was mostly female. And Zack likes to call himself the glue. You know, we were all out there kind of keeping each other in check, and it was just a really incredible experience.
Okay. And how long is that film?
It's 15 minutes long. It's a short film.
So was that a stipulation in terms of?
15 minutes in 5 days is a lot.
Yeah.
That is a heavy workload.
Yeah, no.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was pretty nuts. And I just look forward to this year's round of filmmakers, because I think that what the production company that does the film race, that produces the race itself, is Film 765. And they invite 3 teams to compete. So we were just one of the teams who competed in that race, and this year there's going to be 3 brand new teams, and it's just something I think that as people who live in Indiana, everyone should be aware of, that this thing is happening.
At the point of doing the film itself, at one point did you say, this is it, this is the final product, this is what we're turning in? At what point was that?
Well, that was at the point where we ran out of time. You know, there was, I think that perfection is the nemesis of progress. And so I think being slightly a perfectionist, I think I'm learning also to let go continuously. We know that this is going to get done, and it's going to have to be submitted, and we're very proud of what we did regardless.
And so are you going to be entering more competitions at some point?
I think we would We would do more competitions. We're taking a little break from that and producing some other kinds of work at this point.
Yeah, but we do have festivals coming up.
Yeah,
Film festivals?
Yeah.
With Golden Voices?
Yeah,
Oh,
so Golden
fantastic.
Voices, the world premiere at Heartland will kind of be the first, will be the start of a festival circuit for Golden Voices.
Yeah.
Okay. And how many people were involved in the filming and putting that film together that we just talked about?
Five.
Five? Okay. And although you might have mentioned it again, so were you part of that too, or the film?
No, my affiliation is through Women of the Now. So I basically gave them our blessing.
Okay. And you guys won then, right?
Yeah, they did an amazing job. Yeah, it was really fun to watch them go through the race, and just the social media posts and kind of like hearing the feedback among our inner circle was amazing.
We
It was
did
so
talk
fun.
about hiring more of the Women of the Now board to work on the production, but because of the contest, there were certain structures in place where we could only have 5 members of our team. So myself and the director were Women of the Now, and then Zack and Melissa were on the team, and then we also hired our own lead actress from Chicago.
So what was the prize and what happens now?
Well, there were 4 prizes, or 4 awards. It was Best Cinematography, Best Direction, Overall Best Picture, which came with a 10 grand cash prize, along with Heartland Film Festival premiere. And what am I missing? Best Actress. Kaliko won Best Actress. So we totally swept the awards on the closing ceremonies there.
You swept all the awards?
That's right.
And so you won the grand prize?
Yes.
Money prize?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank
All
you.
right. So let's talk a little bit about, you know, and I just asked you this too before we came back on, about is Women of the Now looking for new members and so forth, but you talked about on how you have something in terms of Facebook that maybe even the women, young lady student from the multimedia department here can even be a part of. Talk about the Facebook group that the students here can maybe be a part of. Is that
Sure,
true?
yeah. So Women of the Now is on Facebook. There's a private group, and that is for filmmakers only. It's not just for women.
Okay.
We're an inclusive and intersectional organization, which
Okay.
means that we welcome all genders, all colors, all types of people who work in the film industry to be able to have the opportunity to be part of our unique set experience. And so we, the private Facebook group will often have job postings, information with regard to our upcoming workshops and things like that. You can also just follow us generally on Facebook, Women of the Now. And that's going to be the best way to get a hold of us. We also have a website, womenofthenow.com, and you can see some of our past work, our past workshops, our events, and see some of our video production work on there as well. We're not currently seeking new membership. We're still finalizing the structure of how membership will work. But when we do have that, those Facebook groups will have that posted and how you can get more involved with the organization and become a member.
So, so therefore, you're not just looking for young ladies or women to be part of this group.
Correct,
You also,
yeah.
it's open to men.
We're seeking all people,
Okay, all
yeah,
people
who
that are
are
interested in the cause.
looking for a different set experience.
Yes.
Yeah, because it's really important. So we go through our status quo. Oh, this is just the way it is, and we start to accept that, and we want to break that cycle. So our sets are very different. And you asked earlier in the previous segment, you had asked, you know, what are we doing to kind of like curb or stem away from, you know, sort of the toxic environment that we've created here. And we do that through a code of conduct. So every one of our members and everyone who works on one of our sets is going to sign that code of conduct, and they're going to agree that, you know, they're going to do X, Y, and Z to create the kind of environment and set experience that Women of the Now aims for.
Is at some point part of the vision for the organization to have maybe an actual location to work out
So we
of?
do have an actual location. So we work out of an organization called Stage 18. It's also a nonprofit, and they provide space and resources for local filmmakers.
Okay, that's very good then. So,
And that's at CineSpace, if you're familiar with CineSpace
okay,
at all.
I haven't been there, yeah, but so that is there, okay. So you partner with them in a sense then, right? And,
Well,
to some effect. Or that's-
Yep,
are they
we're
just
members.
local-
Yep,
okay,
we're co-collaborators as nonprofits.
okay. Is there anything that you want to talk about right here and right now that I haven't asked?
Well, I will also mention, just bouncing off of what Joe was saying, is that Stage 18 is also the place where a lot of our events happen. So anybody interested in attending, for example, a Take Talks event or workshops, they're usually happening, if not in that building, then in that area.
And it's only about a half an hour from
here.
Hammond, yeah.
Okay,
So it's actually pretty easy to get to,
all right.
barring any traffic, of course.
Contact information again for the Facebook address, email, phone number, whatever the case may be.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead and just Google us. It's Women of the Now. All of our websites will pop up if you Google. And then if you want to send us a direct email, it's info.womenofthenow@gmail.com.
You know what, not only is there an issue as it relates to sexual harassment in the industry, what about when it comes to women and men and pay?
I don't know, do we have another 30 minutes?
Okay.
There's you know,
Is that an issue with
what
women
I want to
of the
say
now?
on that, what I want to say on that is, you know, the statistics are very clear. Women make 80% to 100% of what a man makes. So we make about 20 cents less for every dollar, right? So that being said, there's a confluence of factors that create that situation. We need more women in power at the top making those decisions. We talked earlier about how the top grossing Hollywood films, you know, only 16% of those films were women, right? When you look at those films and the women who headed them, that number drops to 4%, right? So we need more women making the decisions that are behind the money, that are making those projects happen, making those
responsible
decisions. Exactly.
Can I ask you a question real quickly? Are there
And that's
any
what it
women
comes down to.
that are up there in the industry that are fighting the cause that you can name right here and right now?
I mean, you know, Reese Witherspoon is one that really stands out to me. She has her own production company, and they have done a lot for women in the industry. There are a lot of women out there who are fighting very hard for this, but it's your top grossing networks that are the ones that need to be making the decisions and putting women at the helm, really.
And so we are coming near the end of From the Heart, featuring the Juan, that's Juan, and only with Women of the Now and Zack, with Grace, with Zack, and with Jill. Thank you very much for coming from Chicago to Hammond to Indiana, and for talking about this very important issue as it relates to women in the industry that needs to be fixed.
Yeah, thank you so much for
Not
inviting
down the
us.
road, but now.
Thanks,
Thank you,
yeah.
thank you, and
Thank
thank
you.
you. And thank you to the students of the Multimedia Department for winning Skills USA 2019.